Welcome to this video where we are featuring LiquidFiles version 3.2 and the features we've added. One of the more heavily requested features in LiquidFiles recently has been to add email notifications in shares, and that's been added now in version 3.2. And this can be enabled on a per user basis by going into a share that you're interested in and then just enabling the send notification in the lower right hand corner. And whenever there's been changes, there is a bit of smarts to not send on every single change, but after a couple of minutes you will receive a notification such as this when there's been changes to any of the files. You can also see that in the shares we've added previews to PDFs and also HTML and a few other files. So this has been slightly updated, whereas before it was only just images, videos, and audio. Next up is a user activity page that we have. So in the user activity, we can see all logged in users of this system at this time. So you can see who they are. First, that they're a user, like a local user, as opposed to an email validated user. What group they're in, what they're actually doing, and when there was an update. So obviously, sometimes someone looks at the page for a couple of minutes before moving on, and then the time will be set here. Some system information and where they're located. If this is a public IP address, it will actually show what location, as in city and country that they are in. You can also log out the user if you want to. So if you click here, the session cookie will be removed for this user, and on the next page load they will be logged out. Next up is the mail queue interface. So this is a new interface to show any emails that haven't been able to be delivered off the system. So just shutting down the fake email tests server that we're using to test email deliveries. And if we now go and send an email to boss@company.com, top secret. This is a very private message that we need to deliver. The message has been sent, it says, but if we now go and look in the mail queue, we can see that it hasn't actually been delivered. We can see the mail ID, who it's from and who it's to, when it was last trying to be delivered, and what happened. So in the information say that we tried to deliver this to 172.16.5.1 on port 1025, and the connection was refused. So this is going to be helpful to troubleshoot any email delivery issues, and you can quickly see when something is being delivered somewhere. If it can't be delivered, what the reason is, and from here you can choose to re-deliver this message, and obviously it won't succeed just yet because we haven't started the fake mail server, but let's do, and then we allow that, and now the email has been delivered off this system. So this is going to be very helpful for troubleshooting email delivery issues. Next up is something that we have added, and let's have a look in the groups settings, system administrators. is a new email or secure message permission level. So we've now added this only specified recipients and recipient domain users can access. So what this means is that in the previous message, when we sent this to boss@company.com, if we try to so here's the message. Copy this and tries to log on as a secretary at company.com. We will get a message that you're not authorized to see this message, and we need to be boss@company.com to be authorized to view this message. And this is something that a lot of people have requested, that we should be able to send messages that not only the specified recipient, but also other people from their domain, so that their secretary and similar colleagues can log in and view the messages. So let's resend this message. And send this that domain users can also access. So now we send the message again. Top secret. Log out. Previous validation email. We have this new message ID. And this time, secretary and secretary.company.com is now authorized to view the message once they've validate their email address. So let's do that. And secretary.company.com has been authorized to view this message. But if we try instead boss at somewhere else, are not authorized to view this message. So very handy to slightly make things a little bit less secure by allowing other people from domains, but not then making it fully open so that anyone can view messages. Moving on. In the message settings, we have also added a pattern matching. So ever so often there's been requests to have more restrictions on who can send stuff to whom. And we have now solved that by adding a regular expression that each recipient needs to match in order to deliver this message. So anything you can write with a regular expression, you can now limit your recipients to. So as a simple example, let's just do say J and then any character at somewhere or other.com needs to match this recipient for the sysadmin groups. So if we do h at somewhere.com, we can see that this is not a valid email address, but j@somewhere.com is. So you can write obviously as complex rules as you want for your pattern matching, and that will be able to limit the recipients to that pattern. Next feature is file drops. So here's a file drop, and if you go to edit this file drop, we can see that we now have a couple of more permission levels, another very common request. So first off, you can, if you wish to enable the private message for this file drop, you can, and you can now set an access password, or you can have both, but it's probably a bit over the top. You can set an password. So let's put an access password of password to show how this works. So if we now go to this file drop, before we can access it, we need to enter password. Once password has been entered, we are shown the file drop. So this is a simple way to protect a file drop if you wish. Another way is to, let's remove password and say that we require users to validate their email address. So we are already logged on, so we are already validated, but if we log out, we need now to, before accessing the file drop, we need to authenticate. So we can authenticate with any email address. So boss@company.com wishes to send something through this file drop, and this goes through the same email validation as, for instance, if you send a secure message to someone. See the email validation, and we are shown the file drop page, and now this is no longer editable, and we can trust this obviously because it's now been validated. So a bit of increased security for file drops. Moving on to file requests. Sorry, request file. This is the file request that it has been for some time, and now we can, if we wish to enable file request multi-use, and what file request multi-use does is simply that it won't expire file request after each time it's been used. So you send a file request to someone, and they can reuse it for the expiration time. So if this has a 14-day expiration time, which is the default, then within those 14 days, the recipient will be able to just keep reusing the link over and over and over again until it expires. So fairly heavily requested feature as well. We have made some improvements to the FTP drops and firsts and the FTP DIRs directories, which we share much of the same code. And we've added SSH key authentication. So you can, if you have an SSH key, you can just upload it, or if you want to generate a new SSH key, you can. And if you generate the SSH key on the system, you can download the private key here and then just use that to authenticate to this FTP drop. Otherwise, we have also added a session awareness. So instead of sending an FTP drop notification for every single file in version 3.2, we now send an email notification per session. So if you log on using your FTP client and upload, say, 200 files, then close the connection, there will be one email with 200 files in that FTP drop message, not 200 emails as it was before. In the network settings, you can also now enable or disable traditional FTP. So obviously, LiquidFiles being security heavily used for security reasons, a lot of people don't want to use, and rightfully so, traditional unencrypted FTP. So if you disable the traditional unencrypted FTP, then you need to then only encrypted FTP-S, so FTP over SSL, SFTP or SCP will be enabled for increased security. FTP-S now also honors the TLS protocol settings in here. So with the default setting, only these will be enabled, and you can change the manually affects both the HTTP and the FTP now. Another security-related feature that has been added is password dictionary check, which is enabled on default because it just makes things more secure without really causing too much hassle unless you want to use bad passwords. So if we go and try to add a new user, we add Marge at com, and if we type password as password, that has previously, just with the regular expression or just with the current test, password as a password wouldn't be permitted. But if we type password again, so now we have password as a password, that would previously have been permitted, but with the dictionary check, it actually can find out and protect us from that bad password by saying that it is based on a dictionary word and we shouldn't be using it even if we use it twice. So it just makes things more secure. And if you wish to disable it, it is in the configuration settings page if it, for whatever reason, doesn't work for you. One of the, if not the most heavily requested feature for, I can't remember when, has been to have an address book in LiquidFiles. So a user can go to their account page, and we have reworked the account page quite a bit as well to have different the different sections of the account. We've, for instance, added a file drop page. So any file drops that a user has, is either the main or CC'd recipient to, they can see here. And we now have a contacts page where you can add a label and one or many emails for this label. And when you go to the secure message, you can type in boss, and in this case, boss@company.com. Will be listed. So you can obviously add an array of email addresses for that label, and it makes it much easier to send a lot of emails to someone, or sorry, a lot of and send a secure message to a lot of people that you keep sending over and over again. So probably the most heavily requested feature of all, and now it's been added in LiquidFiles version 3.2. So I hope you enjoyed that walkthrough, and hope you will enjoy LiquidFiles. Thank you.